Hello, welcome to Fossil Rocks, and here we are at our fireside research area. And so my name is Perry Poon, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the fossils that I have here. So one of the fossils that I have here is a real fossil, and I'll just show you what it is here. So this one here is Dawn Redwood. And so the rock that I'm holding is about 45 to 50 million years old. And what's interesting about Dawn Redwoods, they existed around the time of the dinosaurs, and they made through that mass extinction. And they existed here for until about 50 million years, and as the climate got cooler, these plants, the trees, they disappeared from North America after about 50 million years ago. And so they're now extinct, these Dawn Redwoods, until people, a paleontologist from Japan, he described these, and at that time people thought they were extinct. But then another paleontologist exploring someplace in China discovered live Dawn Redwoods that were living in China. So I'm going to show you some leaves. These leaves are from living Dawn Redwood. And so these ones I've pressed and dried and laminated these leaves. And so you can find live Dawn Redwood here in Richmond if you go to the Gardens City Arboretum. And so there are live ones there, and some of the places also in Richmond you'll find live Dawn Redwood. And so there's big ones that are also found in Stanley Park. So these ones are, which had disappeared before the Ice Age, we're reintroducing them here to North America. And so you can actually see live Dawn Redwood here in the Lower Mainland. Here I have is dinosaur foot. And so this is actually a replica of the fossil foot of the Lambeosaurus George that you see on my slide presentation. And so George is also a Lambeosaurus. And so he's roughly about 75 million years old. And so here would be his toe bone right over here. That's his tip of his toes. Then he has his bones in his toes, and this would be the foot. And so dinosaurs actually stood on the tips of their feet. Okay, and so this was actually made because someone actually accidentally sat on George's foot and broke his foot. And so in the repair process, a friend of mine was able to reconstruct George's foot, and so George now has a new foot. But in the process, my friend also made these. These are toe bones of George, the tip of the toe bones. And so what's really interesting about the tips of toes, they have these little phalanges on the sides that look like hoofs. Okay, and so George is actually a plant-eating dinosaur, and so he ate a lot of the plants. Okay, and this end here will be joining up to the the foot bones there. Okay, so George was capable of walking on his hind feet and also on his front feet. So his hind feet was probably for running, while his front feet was more sort of like casual walking. Here, hadrosaur skin. And so this is a replica, not a real fossil, but you can actually see these are the scales of the hadrosaur. And hadrosaur, again, is a plant-eating dinosaur, and some people call them also duck-billed dinosaurs. Okay. And so these animals are herbivorous, plant-eating dinosaurs, and so they would look like this guy here, Edmontosaurus. Okay, so a plant-eating dinosaur, okay, not a meat-eating dinosaur. And so that's how their skin would have looked too. And this is really interesting because usually skin doesn't get preserved well in the fossil record, but in rare times you do get really excellent preservation of skin of some of the dinosaurs. And this shows you here, this is a footprint of dinosaur. So I've actually copied this out of the book to show how big these footprints are. And so if you go to the Royal BC Museum in Victoria, just outside the building, you'll actually see footprints like this on the concrete. And you don't have to pay to actually look at it, they're free. But yeah, they're on the outside of the museum, and you'll see them sort of like a dinosaur trackway there. So this shows you how big this dinosaur, and again, this dinosaur was made from a hadrosaur. We don't know what type of species, we only know it's a plant-eating dinosaur. And also you have footprints of carnivorous dinosaurs, and so they're much thinner and smaller than the hadrosaur footprint I showed you. Again, not sure exactly what type of dinosaurs, meat-eating dinosaur this was. So very, very bird-like footprints. And the last fossil I want to show you is the megalodon tooth. Okay, and so the megalodon tooth, this shows you roughly how big it gets. And so they get quite large, much larger than this one. This is your sort of average size tooth, but they have cutting edge here. And so these sharks were around 25 million years ago, became extinct around 2 million years ago. Okay, so they're no longer around, they're extinct. Okay, and I have here a replica of the great white shark, and you can actually see how big it is compared to the megalodon shark tooth. Okay, so they got quite big. So people think that maybe the megalodon sharks got up to about 15 meters in length. Okay, so that's the end of our presentation. And so really like to thank you very much for all you people to watching this. Again, I'd like to acknowledge the Pacific Museum of Earth for providing the pictures. And so some of these fossils and also these replicas here are from my own collection. And so I'd just like to end it with thank you very much, and thank you for tuning in and watching it from the Richmond Nature Park. Thank you.